the word preview still.
Con.
So, all right. Shalom. First and foremost, we would like to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Shai, by Hashem Kadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who do well, teach well, being great examples to each other brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing the word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh by Shemal Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners, who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures with faith in Yahweh by Shemal Shai. All right, we are the brother GMS Mississippi Camp, the brother Yashima, to my right, brother Ina. All right, and what we're going to go into is a lesson entitled A Preview, of the Kingdom. Okay, a preview of the kingdom. And we're going to go to that word preview, and then we're going to get some precepts to back up, how now, we're able to experience, previews of the kingdom. And because when you preview something, all right, it makes you want, the whole thing when you sample something. That's why they have, samples. Go to Costco's, they might have a sample of this or sample of that. Yeah, yeah. You get the you go to Lowe's, they might let you sample the wood, the flooring, different flooring. Okay, it's a preview of what your whole floor can look like. You know, you see, well, we have a preview of the kingdom amongst, the believers, and it's a preview of what the whole earth can look like. So the Lord give us a little sample of what the whole earth is going to look like in righteousness, man. A sneak peek. As we apply, this wisdom, as we rehearse the righteous acts amongst each other, well, that's a preview, okay, of what's to come. All right, on a much greater magnitude. All right, with resources and eternal life. Okay, and being completely righteous, man. That there's going to be no struggle, with this old flesh. Okay, with this wicked flesh. So you get that word preview, Bible shop, bro.
That word preview on the Google. It says a preview is a way to view something in advance.
A way to view something in advance. Go ahead.
Either by seeing a portion of it before it is fully available or getting a glimpse of what's to come.
Either by seeing a portion of it before it's fully available or seeing a glimpse of it. Okay? And as we operate amongst each other according to the scriptures, we're seeing the glimpse of the kingdom. You're seeing the order. You got the apostles and elders. Okay? That's pretty much the top of the government on earth for Israel. And you get the apostles and elders. That's why they're able to make certain decrees. All right. And those decrees stand, all right, for all the counts. And then amongst the count, you got the count heads. Okay. And they push those decrees, to their count. All right. Then within the counts, you got brothers with different offices. Okay. That that operate and deal with the day to day. So the kingdom of heaven is going to be one big ruling family. And we're seeing a glimpse of what it's like, to operate as our own government. Now we're still within this system, okay? We're still within Esau Edom, okay, infrastructure. But guess what? When that decree went out not to take the juice, guess what? Nobody took the juice. You see? So we was in the government that was pushing and trying to make the juice mandatory, but then the heads of our government, through the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shah, told us not to do that. All right, and we failed suit. So that's a sneak preview of how the kingdom is going to function. Okay, because when the scriptures say, that you should sit on 12 thrones, matter of fact, get there real quick. Matthew 19, all right, and 27. 'Cause this is a good example of how to break that down. Okay, But we're experiencing a preview of the kingdom, man. Amongst each other. Because the elect is like a nation unto himself. Okay, that's what's Israel of the Most High. All right.
19.
Yeah, started about 27.
Then answered Peter.
Yeah, yep.
God in this book of Matthew, chapter 19, starting at verse 27. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee.
Yep.
What shall we have therefore?
Yeah, Peter. All right, what he was the head of the church. He later became the head of the church. So he's asking, okay, what are we going to get following you? And this is Yahweh Shai addressing the disciples, which are going to be those 12 top men in the kingdom under Yahweh Shai. Okay, so they're inquiring, okay, what are we going to get? Peter, like, look, we've forsaken all, we've abandoned our life to follow you, which that's part of the sacrifice, man, because the reward going to be so big on the other side. And the more, all right, that's why it's more required, of the leadership. You see, and that's another preview of the kingdom and understanding as leaders, there's more required for us, yeah, much is required. So we're learning that, okay, if we're the leaders of Israel, then there's much more required for us. There's much more, we have to be more disciplined, we have to be more dedicated, okay? We have to be out of pocket more, to serve the Lord, you see? So now we're understanding as leader, okay, it's a sacrifice, all right, to being a leader, but the Lord balanced it out with the perks, okay? Go ahead.
Because they'll look at a movie, you see a king, all you see is wine and women, shit like that, but you don't see, what going on behind the scenes. Like you said, the Lord will balance it out with perks. Every brother has his portion when it comes to the perks as well. But the point is, there's much more that goes on behind the scene that's required of that person, of that king, in order for him to fulfill the role that they gotta fulfill. Verse 28, they say that Yahweh Shai said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that which ye have followed, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, but the Son of Man shall sit on the throne of his glory, ye shall sit up on the 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
So it's in the regeneration, and that's reincarnation, okay? Because these spirits, they, come back, in a new body, and these bodies, are generated, okay, regenerated, going to back, generate to produce. So these bodies, these different bodies are reproduced, but that same spirit comes back in a different body. Okay, so we're in the regeneration that Yahweh Shai was speaking of. This is the age that he was speaking of. That this is the age that Yahweh Shai is going to establish the throne of David forever in the earth. Now, these men were promised, all right, to be judges even over Israel. That means that they're going to have high rank. So, going back to the point, just making an example, the apostles, when that whole thing came out with the Jews, and the apostles said, look, don't take that. Well, guess what? That was a judgment call.
See that order?
You see? That was a judgment call. Okay? So in the kingdom, you're going to have Israelite men, okay? Everyone's going to be in that rank of 144,000. And those men are going to be able to make judgment calls, okay? That the rest of the nation, they're not going to be able to make. Israel is not going to need to be judged according to a law. Israel is going to be perfect in the law, okay? There's going to be certain decisions that's going to be made at the top. So now we're seeing how they work, certain decisions that come from the top and they trickle down, The apostle might, they require everybody to make, a video. I think the last time they got GMS,
I know you
what was it, GMS, it was a guy, named Tripping, I think it was
GMS Somalia.
Yeah, Somalia, GMS Somalia, which he wasn't a member of GMS, but he had that on his title, and what Elder Apostle Ariamla made the decree, every brother do a lesson stating that this man is not in GMS. So that decree came from the top. There was a judgment call, okay? So that's what it means that they shall judge the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, there's certain things, certain orders that's going to come from the top. You know that Israel is going to obey. You see, so that's a preview. That's a glimpse of the kingdom as we see how the Lord has destruction as order set up amongst the camps, start with the head apostles, going down to the least brother. There's an order, from elder apostle to heart to the newest brother in GMS. There's a rank and file, to where everything can be accounted for. All right, when you move around, you go see brothers, but there's a way that you even do that. You got to check in first with your camp, let them know, then you let protocols. So you have all these different protocols, okay, because the kingdom of heaven is going to be a well functioning business, man, a family business, a rulership, you know. So we're seeing the preview of that now. All right, you finna say something, bro?
Gun roll, because in the kingdom, Yahweh Shah gonna sit on the throne, and he's gonna make them decisions, and it's gonna be passed down.
Yep.
Or what happens when what them people think the apostles they just decide to come up with something?
Yeah.
No, Yahweh Shah put that on their spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And then guess what? They do the same thing. It's gonna get passed down the same way. Like you said, we're seeing a glimpse of the of what's to come. We're seeing a glimpse. We're seeing a glimpse of that order, that structure,
Yep.
and that discipline, that will, and that want to be obedient and to follow. Ultimately, follow Yahweh Shema Shah, because the apostles, all they're doing is they're messengers as well.
Yep.
They're just on a higher level of what they've been messengers, but they ultimately they're passing down what comes from Yahweh Shema Shah.
Go real quick. Get that in Wisdom of Solomon 8:1. You see, because see, we come from a society, especially nigga culture. So-called black culture. It's a culture of chaos, dysfunction, randomness. And we've been going to that word a lot lately. It's a very random culture.
Yeah.
Now we're coming to a culture that's intentional.
Uh-huh.
Okay, the complete opposite. Okay, so we're gonna get that word. This precept.
You have something that's intentional versus random. Intentional is planned and executed, and it's done in a certain manner to prevent any type of drawback or any type of unwanted reactions.
Yeah.
Like, the nigga society is just random as fuck. That's why it's so toxic and chaotic.
Yep.
The average nigga household is so fucking toxic.
Shit, ain't no household.
Like,
shit,
you
your
can
household.
see, you can see cause what come out of it. More niggas.
Yeah.
YNs and YHs, young niggas and young homies.
Yeah.
Which is, the YHs is just the female versions of young niggas. They act just like it. It's just they're female.
Yeah.
You know get that precept for you?
Yeah, get that Wisdom of Solomon 8.
God, this is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 8, verse 1. Wisdom reacheth from one end to another mightily. Yep. And sweetly doeth she order all things.
It said wisdom reaches to one end of the earth to the other mightily. How does it do that to you two? So you have wisdom that's reaching out throughout the earth. And what does it do? Read again.
And sweetly do she order all things.
And sweetly do she order all things. Okay? Because you might have said, for example, you have a man that was a Christian and lead his household according to Christian value. He came from generational Christian, whatever. And then he starts to watch the videos and he starts to be intrigued, and then he starts to believe. Now, a year later, this man is running his household based on the scriptures. So that's wisdom, putting everything in order.
Yeah.
He might be, in Germany and listen to the brothers in Dallas.
Yeah.
And he's getting that wisdom from them brothers. And it's like now wisdom is setting his house in order. So this is what we're doing. So if this wisdom is going out, and as the hopeful elect are taking heed and starting to put everything in order. And this is a preview, going back to the preview of the kingdom. The kingdom is going to be a kingdom of order, kingdom of integrity, honor. You see, honor is coming back, integrity is coming back. You see, we're getting the intangibles. See, we got a preview of the intangibles of the kingdom. We don't see the streets of gold, like we don't get a preview of that. They know the windows of Agate, okay? the slaves. We don't get that yet. But we got a preview of the intangibles as far as the character of the kingdom. You see?
Yeah,
Because they
you
don't
gotta know how to carry yourself. Because if we don't have the proper character, and we haven't been built up, like when you get these things, like the other benefits besides the intangibles, like you look like there's no point.
Yeah.
It's gonna be pointless. You don't know what to do. If you niggas don't know how to act in captivity, you damn sure ain't gonna know how to act in rulership.
No.
Because if you look at it going back to like you saying about, brothers getting that wisdom, because ultimately, side note, that's what the internet was designed for, but it's truth to be pushed out. But if you look at like you sound like a brother, a year or two in or whatever, he watching the video and look at his household. That's a glimpse as well. Like just seeing your household in order, your woman taking care of you, and then you doing right by your woman, according to the scripture, because you doing right is following your house by Shem Shai as a man and leading your house the right way. And then, when your woman follows suit, then the children follow suit going to that victory formation and from First Corinthians.
There's another thing too, like since you said that, because now we're able to see second generation Israelites. Brother C, coming up in saluting,
Yep.
born into the truth. That's a preview of the kingdom. Now
Man.
you got children that's being born and all they know, is Yahweh by Shemal Shah,
Yep.
Shalom, Hebrew names,
Yep.
but that's all they know. They don't know nothing else.
Yep.
That's a preview of the kingdom, because in the scripture speak about all our people shall be righteous, man.
Yep.
So in the kingdom, it's all the children going to know. The men are being called princes, at birth. Women are being called princesses at birth. That's
Yep.
all they. That's all they know.
Yep.
Okay, they all they know is the Passover, the Sabbath, the Shabbat. That's all they know. So this is a preview of the kingdom of how families are going to be. Okay, you got it.
And how to act. We always go into that conduct. How to act, how to carry yourself. How to carry yourself as a man. How to carry yourself as a woman. What we supposed to do, what we not supposed to do. Like we see these small things, and then if you just look back at like how structured, your household. Of course, we're the flesh. So you have your minor things because we all battling. But for the overall perspective of it, you can see a distinct difference in a household that's been led by Yahweh Shema Shai, and a household that's been led by what's it called?
By the world,
The nigga community by Esau.
Yeah. What you got? What you get
I had that Luke.
get that loop. Yeah, get that loop.
This is Luke chapter 7, verse 20 and 21.
Yep.
It says, and when the men were come unto him, they said, John baptized. It's like John Baptist has sent us unto thee, saying, art thou he that should come?
Which one be you in?
Luke 7, 21. 20, 21.
Luke 17.
17. Kind of okay.
Somebody. Yeah, that's the first one we get read. Start.
It's in Luke 17, 20, 21. Stop, bro. It said that when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of the Most High should come,
Yep.
he answered them and said, the kingdom of the Most High cometh not with observation, neither shall they say, lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of the Most High is within you.
The kingdom of the Most High is within us. You see? So the beginning of the kingdom is growing within us. Because the kingdom, we're seeing the character of the kingdom. Okay? We're seeing the integrity, the honesty, the trust, the brotherly love. We're seeing those things, all right, the Lord planted in us. Now we're seeing that sprout forth. That's the first thing that sprout is our character, man. Because the kingdom, okay, is ran by men of character, man, men of honesty, men of honor, men of integrity. So we're seeing those attributes sprout up in each other. And that's a preview of what's to come. Okay, to where you're around the brother, you're around someone that has your best interest. You're around someone who will sacrifice for you. Man. You know, you're around men, right? That but you got whole ass niggas that creep in, and the spirit always snuff them niggas out.
Yeah.
Okay, but for the most part, man, you got brothers, that keep your secrets. Brothers you can vent to. Know where you got a support system. You got a network. You got a network of wisdom. Brothers might, brothers is and there's another thing like being around where everybody is tapped into their gift. Because one thing about a strong nation, when you look at these strong empires, well, you have to look at the men of those empires, and those men be men of skill. So we're learning how to be men of skill again. So you look amongst the brother, every brother is becoming quality. You see, that's why we're not here on quantity. See, the kingdom is going to be about quality. Okay? So when you look at the brothers, the brotherhood, okay, you see brothers is increasing in quality. You see? Like brothers is tapping into things. So you link with a brother, man, y'all start swapping it. Brother might put you on the oars, you might get him some teachers, brother might teach you some scratches, you might teach the brother a meal plan, you see, he telling you how the body work, you telling him about history, so it's like you just,
Exchange.
yeah, every interaction is potent. You know what I'm saying? Every interaction that you have with a brother is potent. It's a preview to the kingdom. Because as we're, in rulership, man, we're gonna constantly be, because every brother gonna have their gifts in the kingdom. And it's gonna be because the kingdom is about its people bringing their gifts and resources and putting it in the pot so everybody can win.
Yep.
Okay.
That brotherly love.
Yep.
Yep. Because before we got on, we was talking about what was it, with the how long it take the enchantments and everything to kick in.
Oh yeah, the KJB.
The KJB.
KGB.
That KGB, the same way it said it take them 12 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Look at that on the right hand side.
Yeah.
You say a brother can come into your truth and he be watching a year, 2 years or later or whatever. And now we start to see the effects of this that start to transpire. So the same way Esau pushing these enchantments, and it take 13 or 12 to 15 years, as they say, for the enchantments to kick in. Well, how about Shema Shai? If you on that right hand side, Abu Razazah, he gonna have that righteousness being planted in you, and that's gonna spring forth at this point in time.
Yep.
Easy
work.
You can see the repercussions of that righteousness. Like you said, we seen that glimpse of what's to come.
Yep.
And like the apostles always say, the brightest mind can't even fathom everything that's truly that's to come. We're talking about the small level things like, brotherly love, houses, our home being in order. We haven't even begun, like you said, to really even feel or even think about the things. Like we think about certain things, but there's also a whole other level of things that we can't even think about right now. So we just seeing the small, minute perks of what's to come. We seeing the mustard seed versus the iceberg of what's to come.
Yes, but get that. Matter of fact, get that in
John.
not John. Get that in Wisdom of Solomon 6 and 20.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 6, verse 20. Therefore, the desire of wisdom bringeth to a kingdom.
The desire of wisdom bring it to a kingdom. Okay? So the desire of wisdom in the beginning is a path to the kingdom, and the desire of wisdom of Yahweh Bashima Shah. So now you have all these men that desire wisdom, okay, and we see the Lord setting it up to overthrow this kingdom, okay, to set up, all right, a righteous kingdom with those men, those Israelite men, those predestined, you know, to desire wisdom. Okay, so the fact that we desire wisdom now, you know, that's a preview of the kingdom. The kingdom is going to be a kingdom that's going to be established through wisdom. And real quick, because we're going to come back to that wisdom Solomon 6. We're going to jump to chapter 7, the next chapter. I believe maybe it's verse 10. Bible study.
10, I love her above him.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7, verse 10, it says, I love her above health and beauty.
Yep.
Choose to have what?
So I love her above health and beauty. Go ahead.
And choose to have her instead of light.
Instead of light, go ahead.
For the light that cometh from her never goeth out.
Yeah, so he says he loved her above health and beauty. Now you have to understand, health is important. Okay? See, but the foundation of health is wisdom. So you have to get the wisdom, and within wisdom, you got health. Okay? You have, you know,
Everything.
you have everything. See, this wisdom is all in one. It's gonna go into it. Go ahead.
Verse 11.
Yep.
It says, all good things together came to me with her, and innumerable riches in her hand.
Yeah, so all good things came together within her, within this wisdom. You see? So it's within this wisdom that everything begins to flow into us.
Yep.
You see?
God.
King Solomon had the wisdom. People flowed to him. King Solomon didn't have to go on tour and see people. No. Everybody came, the earth was coming to Jerusalem. You see?
Fear of the Lord.
Yeah. These kings, okay, they was checking into Jerusalem. And they was coming with their tribute. Okay? Because why? King Solomon prayed for what? Their wisdom to rule in righteousness, man. And after that, everything started to trickle to him, man. So now we're learning to be righteous judges again, and everything is going to come to us, man. You know, and that's another thing of the kingdom. We're not going to be chasing nothing in the kingdom, man.
Yep.
You see, that's another preview of the kingdom. That, you know, that's because the world loves. See, the world has all the leverage of the Israelite men. They operate in just these horny niggas around the earth.
Yep.
The earth got leverage on you like that. But see, now we're being disciplined and we're showing restraint. But the kingdom's gonna be like that, man. You know, we're not gonna chase anything, man. We're gonna have everything at arm's reach.
Yep.
You see? So even, you know, overcoming the flesh, that's a preview of the kingdom. To where the flesh doesn't have dominion over us, man. Okay? Because when we're in those new bodies, man, we're gonna have complete control over the flesh, man. So even the ability to control the flesh, okay, is a preview, a sneak peek of the kingdom, man. Okay? You got some more?
I'll back to that.
They wisdom of Solomon. Yeah, get back to verse 6. In chapter 6, I mean. Read 20 and 21.
Wisdom of Solomon 20 and 21, it says, therefore the desire of wisdom bring you to a kingdom. If your delight be then in thrones and scepters of the king of the people, out of wisdom.
Okay, how do you earn wisdom? You know, you apply. And you make a lifetime. You see? So the Lord, you know, has given us, you know, of the kingdom of come, you know, through his wisdom, you know, through his brotherhood. Okay? All right? That access that we have back, you know, overcoming the flesh. See, we get all these perks now, man. Okay? The network, you know, the order that's being established. Okay? The way that, you know, we operate, you know, as a people. You see, their unity, that, you know, that their oneness, their selflessness, okay, their integrity, all these things are coming back, you know, because these enchantments stripped us from that, from the 60s until now. You know, our people have just been completely stripped of all morality, you know, all integrity, all honesty, man, you know, all wisdom, okay? So the Lord is now restoring us and giving us these things back. And it's showing us a sample of what the kingdom is going to be like on a much larger scale, man. You know,
that's a good point too. That selflessness. Everybody now is like, I gotta go get it. I gotta get mine. That ain't affecting my life. I don't care nothing about it. You know, when you come to this wisdom, we get to see a small glimpse of that as well. That selfishness.
Yeah.
You know, everybody comes together. We make decisions and sacrifices for the good of the entire unit.
Yeah.
You know, one brother might be, have a certain particular portion. You know, another brother might have a certain particular portion. But we ain't sitting back like, oh, his shit bigger than mine, or he got more of this and I got this. Like, no, we making decisions that's best for the entire unit as a whole, so we can function. And that's one of the perks is being able to function as a unit, having that one mind that you get in your how about you shot.
Put brothers on, man.
Come.
Like put brothers on. That's part of our culture. People. Israelite men, they put other Israelite men on. Okay? And if you put a brother on, all right, and he shoot past you,
Shit,
you
we
see?
up.
And we see
up.
that's a victory.
Shit, we up.
That's the victory. Like shit, bet.
We up.
Like little bro, I see you goddamn shit.
We up. Yeah,
Shit.
we must
Yeah,
not
yeah, Hey, instantly, like you see, you put a brother on and he shoot past you, man. That don't take away nothing that the Lord doing for me. How He blessing another brother, man. Because everybody got their perfect gift.
Yeah.
Whatever a brother meant to have, the Lord gonna bless him with it.
Yeah.
But guess what? That brother also got his own affliction, his personal affliction.
Yeah.
That you don't want to see no part of.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, all right, as we coming back to who we are, man, like nah, man, we'll operate on the high frequency, man. We'll operate as nobility again, man. Without the riches, we're rich in character. We become rich in character before we get the physical riches, man. Okay, because that's easy work, for the Lord to upgrade His people, with resources. That's gonna be light work, But the process, the grind is the Lord is making us rich in character, man. The kingdom is gonna be ran by men of rich character, man.
You ever seen that? I forgot what it's called, but it's like some type of leapfrog where it's two people and they taking turns throwing each other forward.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Cause you might have one brother where he might have the initial resources. One brother might have the initial skill for something. They come together. And like you said, one brother might be able to, come up, shoot past, but that brother, you reach back and you throw him forward.
Yeah.
And you throw him, then y'all take turns helping each other out and building. That's the whole point of building together. Like, you don't just come up and be like, yeah, I'm up now. No, bro. Like, you bring your ass. Like, come on. Because that's ultimately what the Lord gives us these things for. It's for the body.
Yeah.
To handle your personal responsibilities, of course. And then, whatever what you can do with the Lord put on you. You use that. The point is we building each other up. Whether that be brother putting, you made a good point at first. We ain't even look at it from just a financial standpoint. Look at it like when it comes to the wisdom. Like you said, brothers talk about the oils. Brothers talk about the eating habits. Better diets. Like look at these things. And then you look up. We talking about different skills.
Yeah.
It's a back and forth exchange, and we begin to see how brothers literally, what they say, iron sharpens iron. So we see how brothers are literally building each other up and sharpening each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the most High to give the increase, man.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, all right, what we're experiencing, is a preview, a glimpse, of the kingdom, all right, amongst each other. That's why, we all we got, we all we need. That's why we're not here for the gimmicks. We don't want just anybody around. We got good quality people around us, man.
Yep.
We got a network, we got peace. Okay. All right, sports, we got, a certain counsel we gotta have and, certain rebuke and these different things. Okay. That's a part of it's a part of the growth. The Lord deal with, the body, okay? And the body has to, correct itself at time. See? Yeah, self-healing. You see? But we're not out here looking for new friends, we're not out here passing out pamphlets. No. We have All right, we all we got, we all we need, you know. So we're beginning to operate because I know what this brother thinking to the right and to the left of me. I know what these brothers thinking.
Yep.
I ain't gotta, think twice about it.
Yep.
You know,
I be looking out corner of my eye, shit, and check, make sure my what Jay like to say, stay on your pivot. If you ain't around, fuck niggas. A lot of times you can just chill.
that's another thing. You can be you. You can fully be you amongst your body. You know what I'm saying? So, because in the world, most of the time, we have a character.
Yep.
So amongst the body, you can really be you. So yeah, man, so it's a beautiful thing. That we seeing the Lord, put together. Just to see, brothers growing. Okay, just to see, and how was shot, growing in brothers and everybody coming to their full measure. So it's just a preview. When we link, certain camps come together and link, man. It's just a preview to the kingdom, man. That's why, I know, man. Uh, I used to link with brothers, and even just a regular camp day. Just being, just Friday, linking with brothers on camp. Probably link with brothers Saturday. But then, Monday, especially like when you go out of town and link with brothers, man, or it's like
If you want to leave,
a few camps get together, meet up in one spot, and then it hurts so bad, to go to work Monday because it's like you just left the kingdom and then you gotta voluntarily come back to this bullshit.
yep.
It's just like you leaving the kingdom to be around fuck niggas, man, niggas in the world. So it's like, god damn, man, I know that shit used to hurt Monday, man. Like that shit used to hurt in my chest, goddamn. Had to go fuck with them niggas.
Boy, sick. Boy.
Yeah, but it just makes us
Makes you go.
thirst. Matter of fact, looking in with that, let's get that in Matthew 5 and 5. I think right.
I know what you're going to.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 5 and 6. We end it there, bro.
It says, this is Matthew chapter 5, starting at verse 5. It says, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the kingdom.
Yep.
Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for
Yep.
they shall be filled.
Yeah, blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be fulfilled. So now, as we've tasted, the scripture say, taste the Lord and see that He's good. Because you taste something, going back to a sample, a preview.
Yep.
So the scripture say, taste the Lord and see that He's good. So we've tasted Yahweh Shem Al Shah, and we see that He's good. Now we want the whole entree, man. In the kingdom. You see, because we have a sample amongst one another. Now we want the entree, man. Israelite supremacy in the earth. That's what we want. So, that's the point. Lord will, you brothers. All right, and you sister edify once again. And give all praise and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Kakadash. And double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully, shalom.
Shalom.